My name is Rochelle Robinson. I'm mayor of the city of Douglasville. I'd like to welcome you to the Douglasville City Council legislative work session. And I will give up some rules and then we'll get right into the meat of the meeting. This is a work session where agenda items are presented for discussion only, and no official action will be taken this evening. Official action will be taken on these items discussed tonight next Tuesday. Typically we meet on Mondays, but Monday is a holiday, is Dr. Martin Luther King Day, and so we will meet on Tuesday rather than Monday at 6 p.m. If the business you're here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the agenda item comments from citizens and delegates for you to discuss your business. There are a few protocol items I need to make sure that we're aware of before we start the meeting, and I ask that you would please listen closely so there will be no misunderstandings on how tonight's meeting will be conducted. I ask that you would please keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You will receive a warning from the chair, and if you deviate from this warning or this requirement, a second deviation will result in us asking you to leave the premises. Only one person speaking at a time. Please do not react or speak when you're speaking at the podium. Speak from the audience, carry on a conversation, cheer, or otherwise be disruptive when you're at the podium. Please address all of your comments and concerns to myself or the committee chairperson. Don't turn around and speak to the folks in the audience. I'll remind you that we are only required to accept public comments during the required public hearings, and we are not required to accept public comments on other items before this council outside of that. We will accept public comments on items that enables us to better make decisions, but we will maintain order. The chair of the meeting at any time, I am prepared to stop public comments on any agenda item if it gets out of hand. I believe the general good of the meeting will not be beneficial if everyone in the audience and we're going back and forth with each other. If you have a cell phone or electronic device, I ask you to please power those off or put those in silent mode so they will not be disruptive. And this is how the agenda items will be handled. The committee chairperson will read his or her agenda item. Then that person representing that agenda item or applicant will make his or her presentation, and this will be your opportunity to present your information. Myself and council members will possibly ask clarifying questions to help us make a determination for how we're going to vote next Tuesday of the applicant. After that, if it's a public hearing, the committee chairperson will ask for comments or statements from the audience. There is, during this public hearing time, 20 minutes for those that are in favor of the item and 20 minutes for those that are in opposition, and each person has 5 minutes to speak. Now, there is a form that you should fill out if you'd like to speak. It's called a speaker sign-in form. You fill that form out and then you hand it to our assistant city manager, Ms. Karen Callan, over here to my left, your right. She will take that information, give it to our assistant city manager, Ms. Candace James, and she will add it to the official record. When you come to the podium, we ask that you would give your name and address for the record, and then you can proceed to talk to us about the item that you're here to speak on, and you have 5 minutes. Each person has one opportunity to speak. No repeat that you forgot something and you come back and talk. You have 5 minutes to present to us. This is not a question and answer format or debate, but a format that gives you an opportunity to make a public comment on a respective agenda item. This is particularly important during our public hearings. We understand you may have questions about the information that's being presented. We will try to answer your questions. However, this is not a format that we will go back and forth. Our staff, if we can't answer the question at this time, someone will follow up with you at a later date. Please address your comments and concerns to the chair. And I think that's it. If you have any information that needs to be printed or that you want to disseminate or give to us, we ask that you please give it to our assistant city manager, Ms. Callan. She'll give it to city clerk. They'll make copies, hand out the copies to everyone. I believe that's it. The only other thing is during the comments from citizens and delegates period, we will not address zoning items. They will be discussed during the public hearings for each zoning applicant. The time to address those comments was during the citizens' comment sections for those public hearings in particular. Allowing those comments outside of the public hearing violates the Georgia State Code Procedure Act. So the time to talk about any of the zoning issues and concerns is at the time of the public hearing. When it's time for comments from citizens and delegates at the end of the meeting, we ask that you will not come up and start regurgitating or talking about anything about the zoning matter. If so, I will stop you and ask you to please present at the time of the zoning hearing. All right, that's all the information. It's a lot of talking, a lot of information. Hopefully we're on the same page. If you'd like to have a copy of the agenda, there are paper copies outside that you can pick up. If not, you can follow us on the screen behind me. Now we'll move on with the agenda as it is printed and presented to you for the legislative work session. We're at item number 5, which is Economic Development Committee. Oh, announcements. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. That's why I got you right here. Presentation recognizing the outstanding achievements of the city's K-9 team for achieving certification and earning top placements at the 15th Annual South Georgia National Narcotic Detector Dog Association. That's a mouthful. NNDDA conference, including accomplishments by Officer Bobby Dukes with his K-9 Lob and Officer Stephen Fuller with his K-9 Talbot. All right now, look at that, they're so pretty. Congratulations, please. Who's gonna present? Is it Deputy Chief or Chief? The Chief, you got it, Chief?
The dogs.
Yay!
Here come the dogs, and it's just a further showing of the professionalism and the training that your Douglasville Police Department is recognized for.
Yes, sir.
Throughout the state and throughout this nation, because we do a great job. And if I didn't start off by mentioning Corporal Mike McDonald, Mike, raise your hand. He's one of the best, well, he is the best trainer for K-9 in this state.
Wow.
Matter of fact, he trained the entire K-9 force for the state troopers over at the police department.
Really?
So when you look at it, not only our dogs and our K-9 handlers and our detectives and our patrol division, see, you got a #1 police department here.
Yes, sir.
So now I'm going to go ahead and get going so we can get moving. At the 2025 National Narcotic Detection Dog NNDDA State Seminar, Officer Bobby Dukes and his K-9 partner Lob earned first place in the patrol dog certification and third place in the obedience certification. They obey better than my kids did when they were coming up. And additionally, Officer Fuller earned first place in the obedience certification with his K-9 partner Talib.
Wow.
Each year, our K-9 teams are certified through the National Narcotic Detector Dog Association in narcotic detection, patrol, and tracking. This certification represents a national standard and is essential to demonstrate that our K-9 teams are properly trained and certified for court purposes. The 2025 seminar included 180 K-9 teams across the state. During the patrol and obedience certification, our dogs perform a series of required tasks off-leash, responding solely to verbal commands. And that's why I say, they mind better than my kids did. I had to go grab them and shake them and stuff. No, I didn't shake them. I don't get no case around there. But the teams are evaluated, judged, and ranked by certified NNDDA officials based on performance and control. These results reflected the high level of training, professionalism, and commitment demonstrated by our K-9 handlers and their partners. Bobby Dukes, raise your hand, Bobby. Bobby Dukes is from Paulding County and started working here in 2014. He was promoted to the K-9 unit and paired with Lob, a Belgian Malinois, in 2018. He is the K-9 assigned to our crime reduction unit as well. Stephen Fuller is from Douglas County, started working here in 2022. Raise your hand. Yeah, he was promoted to K9 unit in 2022 and is currently paired with K9 Talib, a Dutch Shepherd. And both of these officers on our SWAT team, they do a lot of work. And, you know, we have to call them out sometime. You know, we have to go find someone who's bush bundled, who's trying to, get away from the police department, or to help find someone. So they dual tag. So we just thank them for their service and thank them for being officers here at the Douglasville Police Department. Let's give them a round.
I know, I don't want them to get nervous. Do you all want to say anything? We want to take pictures with the trophies if it's okay. Can they come around? Are they going to be okay?
Pet them. Miranda want to go pet.
I want them to come around. They're really pretty.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you all bring them around? Are they okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, they can pet them a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
He said, don't pet. Okay. And I remember going through training, Chief, with the academy, and them dogs was running up on them, biting on the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, counsel, at your risk, at your own. Whatever you want to do. No, we're going to come out with you. We're coming out with you.
Stafford, y'all gonna come up? Yeah. Y'all come and take a picture. Come on.
No, I'm not getting in there. You get in there. You need to be in that picture.
I'm just helping y'all squeeze in.
Not unless you got blue on it.
Okay, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. One more, 1, 2, 3. And then one more on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
Thank you all so much. We appreciate that. We're very proud of our police department. Let's give our chief and the police department another hand. Thank you. Congratulations to you, Chief, and everyone else, and all the officers, and the K9 unit. So we'll move on now to the next committee, which is item number 5, Economic Development Committee. That's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem City Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Economic Development Committee at this time.
Thank you, sir. Finance Committee, chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in finance.
Thank you, Coach. Housing and Community Affairs Committee, chaired by Councilmember Elena Hudson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Housing and Community Affairs Committee this evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee, chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem, City Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have a couple of items under the Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee tonight.
Yes, sir.
And the first one is to adopt a resolution to submit to the Georgia General Assembly for consideration the passage of a bill to amend the City of Douglasville Charter, Section 2.11, regarding election procedures. And the most highly recommended Miranda Jordan and Joel Dodson will deliver some information on this.
Thank you, and I would ask that you all do a
Refresh.
refresh. So that, again, same issue, which we can, hopefully it will show up. Mine did show up. So, okay,
You did.
excellent. This was discussed briefly at the 5 o'clock meeting. It was discussed in a little bit more detail back in December. I will give the overview of the change, which is on the Exhibit A, the 4th page of your attachment. The change is marked in red, where the sentence will read, candidates seeking election as council member from a district must reside within such district from which they seek election for 12 months prior to the date of the election of members of the city council. And then it continues about the write-in status. That change was made, was proposed at the request of council, was discussed with the local delegation for the General Assembly back on December 18th. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. This will be forwarded to Representative Sylvia Baker, who will be sponsoring the bill.
So after, it has to, all we're doing is, if we vote in favor of this, is to send it as a recommendation to the legislature.
That is
For
correct.
passage, okay. All right, any questions about Councilman Estes? And we'll start with you. And work our
Just
way
real
down.
quickly, you know, obviously it separates out candidates and write-in candidates. Does the write-in candidate have to have the same residency requirement? Because from this, it's not clear to me.
You are correct. That will be updated prior to Tuesday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that.
Good catch. Any other questions, comments? Madam Mayor,
I'm
you
trying
look
to
like you're
think.
about
Yeah, you know, see my
about
face.
to go.
It says mayor and council. I'm trying to read where mayor or members of the city council each shall continue to reside there and after the person's period of service. So the mayor is the entire city.
That's correct.
Council members are ward specific. I don't see where that. And the reason why I'm bringing that up about the district, it says district, it needs to say ward, because in 1978, I know that's a long time ago, Councilmember Homer Danley went to Supreme Court of the state of Georgia to sue for ward representation. And so that has been the tradition, and it needs to specify. You say the district, district is like state, and I know we're trying to mimic the state, but it needs to say ward. We have ward representatives, not district representatives.
From a legal point of view, it'll be interpreted the same way. A district is a ward, it's not.
Okay,
a
so a
ward is
district
no
is a
different
ward.
than a district.
All right, thank you for that clarity, Mr. Dodson. So will the person know that that's qualifying when they come to the city of Douglasville to qualify for city council, and they got Ward 1, Post 2, Post something, or they gonna say District 1, Post 2, what's the?
That can be changed at your recommendation, if that is at the pleasure of council. I'm happy to make that amendment prior to Tuesday's meeting.
So is it understood in this one where it says mayor and council that mayor is citywide, councils are district-wide?
That's right. So when it specifies a candidate seeking election as a council member from a district. So that just specifies that only the council members have to actually reside in a specific area prior to the election. But the, no person shall be prior to that, on the second line, no person shall be eligible to serve as mayor or council member unless that person shall be at least 21 years of age and shall have been a resident of the city for 12 months prior to the date of the election of mayor or members of the city council.
And Ms. Jordan, this section is pertaining to city council. That's the heading. So it's not pertaining to the mayor. So it's just for city council.
Okay.
It references as far as the age, both. But when you look at section 2.1, it says city council terms, qualifications for office. It's not referencing the mayor.
Okay, because it does have date of election of mayor or members of the city council shall continue to reside therein during the person's period. Okay. It's mixing things together.
One thing I would ask, maybe it doesn't need to be clarified, but it says a person shall be at least 21 years of age, but it doesn't say as of what date. Is it at the election or at the point of the beginning of the term? That may be a distinction that somebody could haggle over there.
I think the language, no person shall be eligible to serve, is key there.
Is that inherently mean the date of their swearing in?
Well, they could get elected, it looks like to
Yeah.
me,
Well,
not be 21, but by the time they
Yeah.
put their hand on the Bible, they've got to
Right.
be 21.
But is that language, I want to be clear, is that language?
That is
That's
my
what that
interpretation,
means.
yes, of the
Okay.
language that's in the
Okay.
charter currently, yes.
So you could qualify and not be 21.
Right.
You could run, but by the time January, whatever, you got to be 21.
Okay. I mean, I know that's what we've always understood it to be. I just want to make sure that the language agrees with that understanding. So,
Can we run through just really quickly the things that you all are asking Ms. Jordan to address for Tuesday? So are we changing the word district to ward?
No, because Mr. Dodson said district is understood to be ward.
We are going to address the write-in candidate information that Councilman Estes represented.
City manager, could we have district and then have ward in parentheses, Mr. Dodson, or no?
You can put that in, it doesn't defeat it. No. You want to put down district or ward, that's fine.
Do you all feel comfortable with that or no? To have parentheses for ward?
Is it consistent? I mean, is this?
I believe that the wording, unless Miranda tells me something different, the wording consistent throughout the charter's district.
Okay, so it
That-
doesn't say ward.
And that would be my only recommendation against not tampering with that, because we
Okay.
may be
like the
inadvertently
his-
tampering
It's like the
with.
his
It's a
and
his,
her.
her thing, yeah, we don't
Okay.
have to change it everywhere.
I'm just, but it's interpretation.
Unless we change the
Somebody- okay.
wards to parishes or something like that.
And actually, I'm gonna look real quick, because there's a definition under governing structure. It does not specifically say, define the word district in that government structure section, Article 2 of your charter, but
we can add a definition to create the clarity.
yes.
Are there other changes that you all would like to make in the wording? Or suggestions? Anything?
Word is going to be reflected in another addendum or a supporting document
That's a definition.
as a definition.
Yes,
Okay.
we will add definition. We do have a section for definitions, but as Ms. Jordan mentioned, we can create the definition for districts as it relates to us as wards.
Well, general people understand.
I do.
Staff will make certain that it's understood.
And I-
You have a map showing the districts or wards. And, much of that language comes from state law, and the GMA sets out model charters. For instance, the city of Atlanta has wards. Their charter refers to districts.
And I would like to point out, in the definition section, district is not included, but in section 2.10, which is the section right before this one, it says the legislative authority of the government of the city shall be vested in the city council to be composed of a mayor and seven council members. Continuing on, the council members shall be elected from 5 districts by the electors of their respective districts. 1 council member shall be elected from each of districts 1, 4, and 5. And 2 council members shall be elected from each of districts 2 and 3. So there is that repeated pattern of the usage of the word. We can say, where the word district appears, it shall also mean ward. And that might, instead of changing the actual word, adding it somewhere else. That, I can add that as part of the proposed charter amendments that we discussed at the 5 o'clock meeting.
Yes,
Could that also be used for the his, her thing, that we, as, under the definitions? Where his and her will be considered of equal meaning?
I
instead
think
of changing it.
Instead of having to go through the
That-
document, changing it everywhere.
that would be acceptable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Jordan, I just had 2 questions. I see here it says the age of 21. Has it always been the age of 21? For some reason, I was always under the understanding that, I guess when she turned 18, that you could run for public office. So has that always changed?
The state statute specifies 21 years of age.
Okay. And then the second question is, I know Madam Mayor just kind of referenced 1978 and wards, et cetera. So what prompted the change of the ordinance as it was written prior to, or for however many years prior?
Are you talking about the 1970s situation?
No, the 211, because I think I guess I'm understanding that the change is to be consistent with the state of Georgia. But aside that, what prompted, the change of the charter as it relates to residency? Because I imagine it has been in place for a number of years for the city of Douglasville.
I think the answer, Councilman Caldwell, is we were practicing election as practice, the way that it's written, but it wasn't necessarily clear in the language that that's actually what we're actually doing. So in order to have written and codified what we're actually doing, we need to make certain that the wording lines up. That was the direction from the elected officials. If we're going to be voting by district, we need to make certain that the language is clear, that that's what we do.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. All right, well, I guess we will take this up on Tuesday, correct?
Yeah, this one has to go hopefully before the session is up in 40 days, unless they have a layover.
So you'll have all the corrections or the editing done by then, so.
Yes, and
okay.
the only edit for this specific one will be to update, as Councilman Estes pointed out, to make sure the language tracks for the write-in candidates
As
the
well as
same way that it tracks for the
registered candidates.
regular registered candidates that are qualified.
Yes. Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll move on to the next item, B, which is adopt a resolution as requested by the City of Douglasville Police Department to secure funding in the state of Georgia budget to staff a basic law enforcement officer training academy at the Georgia Public Safety Training Center, GPSTC, metro location for 2026. And Captain Mark Edwards, I do not see him.
He's not here, but I could
Chief,
speak on that.
go ahead.
We just recently had a meeting, and Mayor Pro Tem and Councilman Estes was at the meeting, and what we're looking at is we had Senator Tim Bearden and House Representative Alexander New there, and we're trying to secure funding for the possibility of having a regional academy here in the West Georgia area. And to ensure that the state fund this academy. Right now, Cobb County was funding the Austell location, and the state picked that up. So hopefully they'll keep the funding at that location. But we are in need of a regional location here in the West Georgia area, because if Austell closes, we will have to go to Rome or down to Forsyth. It's gonna cost us more money. It's, the training sessions are now 20 weeks, you know, so then, so we're just looking and having discussions with them prior to they going into their financial discussions.
All right. Thank you, Chief. City manager and I were having conversations about it. You tell me if it's too soon to discuss this openly, but, okay, because there are some ideas being bounced around about financing that might be very helpful. Okay, we'll bring that back up then when it's, okay. Okay, good. All right. Any questions or comments about, Coach Watts?
Chief, any idea where the location might be?
Well, excuse me. We're looking at, we had been in discussion with the technical college out in, it's in Waco. We looked at it because it has all the bells and whistles. It has classrooms, it has everything that we would need. Plus, we're getting our range for driving range done, and so we had about 8 different agencies: Kennesaw, Marietta, Smyrna. So we had Paulding County, Douglas County. So we all in need of this, and we're just going to keep in discussions with our representatives, and hopefully we can get something built in our area.
And the training for municipal officers and sheriff's deputies is pretty similar, right? There's not much of a,
Yes.
not really any difference between your training.
No, if they are going on the road, now the jail, they have a jail mandate as well. But if they going on the streets,
But your
they
day-to-day,
getting the same
your
training.
day-to-day procedures, you learn the same thing.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay. And what you're asking from us is a resolution to support this, and I don't see that as any problem getting that on the agenda and getting it passed. So we'll have that on Tuesday's agenda. Okay. If there's no other questions or comments, and Madam Mayor, that's all we have under the Legislative Intergovernmental Committee at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. We appreciate you bringing that information forward to us, and we appreciate all the hard work you're doing, Chief, for public safety, trying to make it better for the community, and to have training of the officers and having those conversations with state legislators and all the police officers and chiefs and law enforcement within the area in the western part of Georgia. So thank you so much for doing that and being a leader. We appreciate that.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Thank you, Attorney Jordan and Attorney Dotson, for helping us with the charter information. We appreciate that so much. We'll move on to Personnel and Organization Committee, chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight for Personnel and Organization.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. Planning and Development Committee, chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
Good evening. I would like to call the Planning and Development meeting to order. This evening, some of our items on our agenda will require a public hearing. Before we begin those items, I'd like to briefly review the procedures we will follow to ensure an orderly and fair process. These hearings are conducted in accordance with the Georgia Zoning Procedures Act. As elected officials, it is our responsibility to ensure that all applications are reviewed fairly, impartially, and in accordance with the city's zoning ordinance and adopted land use policies. For each zoning item requiring a public hearing, we will begin with a presentation from city staff outlining the request and any relevant findings. The applicant will then have an opportunity to speak. Following these presentations, the mayor and council may ask questions of both staff and the applicant. After that, we will open the floor for public comment. If you would like to speak in support or in opposition to the application, please complete a comment card before approaching the podium. Comment cards are located near the entrance of the room and should be submitted to the city clerk before your turn to speak. Please include your name, address, and the item that you wish to discuss, and if possible, any specific questions you would like staff to follow up on. All comments should be made respectfully and directed to the chair. When you speak, please begin by stating your name and address for the record. If you ask questions, please understand that we will not respond immediately during the public comment portion. Instead, staff will attempt to address all questions at once before the close of the public comment, provided the information is readily available. Each speaker will be allowed to speak up to 5 minutes. We will allocate a total of 20 minutes for comments and support and 20 minutes for those in opposition. This is not a debate. Interruptions, outbursts, and other disruptions will not be permitted. This is a general public comment period. Excuse me. There is a general public comment period at the end of the meeting tonight. But the City Council cannot hear additional public comments during the general public comment portion for specific zoning items where the public hearing has already taken place on that item. The mayor will cut off any public comment that refers back to a specific zoning item. As a reminder, the mayor has requested that there be no applause or other demonstrations during the meeting. Please ensure that all electronic devices are silenced. Anyone who disrupts the proceedings will be asked to leave. And with that, we can now proceed to our first zoning application, which is item number 26-018. Says to hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from PUD, Planned Unit Development District, to PSP, Public and General Commercial District, to PUD, which is Planned Unit Development District 4, 82.20 acres, located on Bill Arp Road and Rose Avenue, Land Lot 161, District 2, Section 5, parcel IDs 0017 and 0043, and Land Lot 162, District 2, Section 5, parcel ID 0029, application by DRB Group, Georgia, LLC. And Mr. Gray is going to go over this with us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is, my name is Dana Gray, 6758 Spring Street. This is a proposal to rezone GC, PUD, and PSP to PUD for a total of 482 units. Of those, they're proposing 357 townhomes and 125 single-family detached homes. The development would have 2 entrances and exits located on Rose Avenue and the other one on Bill Arp. The Planning Commission did deny this petition on January 6th. They are also proposing as amenities a pool, cabana, dog park, playground, and open green space areas. So FYI, the school board did review this and provided comments stating that the schools in this area are at capacity. They would have to provide trailers to accommodate the increased number of students. And we did have a traffic study by AECom, and their conclusion was that there would be a 2% growth in this area, which will increase congestion. So if this is approved, staff is recommending 2 conditions, one being an 8-foot sidewalk shall be installed in the frontage of the property on Rose Avenue and Bill Arp Road, and the second, a maximum of 15% of the dwellings on the property may be rented. And it came to our attention that there was a typo in the staff report toward the last page that said 20% as well, but we are asking for 15% as the condition. So apologize for that error on the staff report. And the applicant is present.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. I do have just one question for you right quick. When AECom said that there would be a 2% growth for the area to increase congestion, does that mean when the project is finished, or is that 2% in the first phase and an additional 2% in that next phase?
They're proposing from that study that each year there'd be about a 2% growth.
Each year?
So, yes.
Okay, thank you. Madam Mayor, Council, do you guys have questions of Mr. Gray before the applicant comes up? Madam Mayor?
I do. Thank
Okay.
you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Gregg. We appreciate the overview. It's a change in zoning from PUD to PSP?
No, it's going to PUD.
It's going to PUD from general, commercial, and PSP?
And PSP and PUD, yes.
Public, semi-public.
So it's three parcels.
Right. So one of the parcels is a PUD, one of the parcels is general commercial, and another parcel is public, semi-public. And so they're wanting to combine and rezone everything into a PUD.
So was no commercial?
Part of it is commercial right now, but they're not proposing to bring commercial to this site.
Okay. So in our other developments, we kind of, it seems like the community wants some kind of mixed use kind of development. So but this is not mixed use, it's just total homes.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not duplex, triplex, quadro, it's just townhomes and single family.
Correct.
Okay. And the school system says that they're at capacity.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And
All
that
right,
they
just trying to
also
get
don't have the
information.
staff to accommodate.
Okay, that's all. I just wanted to make certain I had that in my mind. And the traffic says it'll be an increase.
About
2%.
2% per year.
Per year.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any
Thank
other
you, Madam
questions
Chair.
of Mr. Gray before the applicant comes up? Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Gray. And at this time, if the applicant's here, if you guys would like to come up, we do need your name and address for the record, please.
Presentation. Great. All right. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the council. My name is Jessica Hill. My business address is 600 Peachtree Street, and I represent DRB Homes. I'm joined tonight by Cameron Heath with DRB, as well as our traffic engineer, who you may have some questions for, Abdul Amir. Some overview comments. So first, this application was initially submitted with a significantly higher density. When this application was originally submitted, we had townhomes, single-family homes, and apartments. We have reduced the density by 40%. So the proposal before you today is a PUD zoning for 357 market rate townhomes and 125 single-family detached homes. So it's a total of 482 homes on 82.2 acres. Going back to what the property is actually zoned today, we've outlined the property in red. Everything you see in the lighter pink color is general commercial. So the majority of the property is zoned general commercial. The portion that you see in green is the PSP, and then there's a small blue portion plan left, which is the PUD, the existing PUD. Surrounding uses, well, let's talk about the comp plan. The comprehensive plan provides that the development should be in accordance with the character of the neighborhood. It recommends a diversity of lot sizes, housing types, and sizes to accommodate a variety of stages of life in a pedestrian-oriented setting, integrated well with the city's neighborhoods, parks, and civic spaces. Looking at what is developed in the immediate area, there's a variety of uses. There's general commercial, there's industrial, there's residential, there are park uses, there's obviously the golf course, but just looking specifically at the residential uses around here, you've got, again, in blue, the property. The property development, the density proposed is just under 6 units an acre. So we're at 5.86 units an acre. That's what this would yield. To the north, the Fairways and the Rosewood developments are at 2.11 and 1.95 units per acre. Those are the least dense in the immediate area. Immediately abutting the property is Park West. That has a density of 13.37 units an acre. Immediately across Highway 5 are the Rocky Ridge Apartments, which have a density of over 12 units an acre. The West Chase Townhomes, which you see up in green, just north on Rose Avenue, those are 7.48 units per acre. So it is our opinion that we are consistent with the density in the area, particularly given the corner location in this property and the existing commercial zoning. As mentioned, there are several amenities proposed. I'll flip through them, happy to go through them some more, but amenity concepts include a pool and cabana, dog park, playground, community garden, fire pit, and a linear park, which there are zoning conditions. I'll touch on those in a little bit. Your packet includes 14 conditions the applicant has proffered, which include a 17-acre linear park that we would propose to be available to the city should the city choose to want the park. Rezoning history, it's very long and storied. I'm sure you remember back in 2022, there was an industrial development proposed on this site. It was not well received. It was not approved, and the property owner met with city officials to try and to determine the appropriate development scope on this site. Was directed toward a medium density residential development. They brought in DRB. We filed a zoning application, did our traffic study for the development of regional impact. The traffic study and the development of regional impact were approved. And then we started going to the various hearings, and there was mention of this AECOM study, which I'll get to that in a second as well, that there was a traffic study the city was performing. What we learned, and we now know, is that traffic study actually did not include this property. It stopped at the corner. So it does not include this property. It doesn't impact it. It does note that there's a 2% growth in the area. And our traffic engineer can talk to you about what that means, but that's actually pretty normal. That's what our traffic study estimated for growth in the area. 2% is a normal traffic amount for growth. So from a traffic perspective, it's not expected that our project's going to increase traffic 2%. That's just the expected growth in the area. I'm going to flip through the history. So revisions that we've made since we originally filed. As I mentioned, we reduced the density by 40%. We went from 10 units an acre to 6 units an acre. We got rid of the multifamily apartments that were proposed. We met with all local government services. DRB was encouraged to meet with various groups, which Cameron can tell you a little bit more about, but we met with EMS, Fire, Douglas County Schools, Elevate Douglas, the city manager, and Parks and Rec. We incorporated various amenities, which I showed you some pictures of earlier, as well as the 17-acre park. We also updated the elevations, which we will show you in a little bit, to include additional units, including ranch-style units, with a minimum of 50% of the single-family homes being ranch-style with master on main. Again, trying to cater to a variety of potential buyers. And then, as I mentioned, there are 14 conditions in your packet. They include the site plan, the elevations, this park that I mentioned, a cap on rentals. The staff has added 2 conditions. We're amenable to the 2 conditions the staff has added. Let's see. This just shows connectivity. It shows, happy to go back to this if needed, but it shows how the site interconnects with Hunter Memorial Park. It shows the sidewalks that are available. It shows a golf trail that's available. All right, traffic impacts. So the existing zoning, if you were to build a 500,000 square foot retail development, it would generate 19,000 daily trips. This project, as proposed, generates 3,909 daily trips. So it's a pretty significant reduction for what it is zoned for and could be developed today. One thing to keep in mind from a traffic perspective is this project is going to take about 5 years to develop. So it's not as if you're going to have 482 homes on the market at one time. The expectation there's going to be about 60 to 110 new households annually. So that's, traffic added each year, but not added all together. The density reduction we proposed also reduced the daily trips significantly. It's 88 fewer AM trips, 102 fewer PM trips. Keep in mind that this project was reviewed for a DRI with 792 units, and the levels of service on all of the roads were deemed to be acceptable. The DRI was approved, so we have reduced density by 40%. It can only get better. Generally, the intersections perform at the same level as if the project didn't occur at all. I'm happy to talk about that. Traffic improvements, just going back to the access, there are 2 access points for this site, one on Bill Arp, one at Rose Avenue. There will be a traffic signal at Rose Avenue and there will be turn lanes to go in and out of it. And that is at the existing intersection. And then on Bill Arp, there will be a right in only, so no left into the development. And then exiting from the project, you could go right or left. And school impacts, I'm going to let Cameron talk about.
Got a lot of papers here. Okay, good evening. My name's Cameron Heath with DRB Group. Our work address is 55 Ivan Allen Jr. Boulevard. So we did meet with Dr. Chris Small last year about the school impact from this development, and he did share that the current schools, Bright Star Elementary, Chestnut Log Middle, and Douglas High School, are at capacity, and he does have concerns about adding additional capacity. Now, there are several ways to accommodate that additional capacity, and the point of this first slide that I have not shown yet is that all students are not going to come at once, so the school board still has time to come up with growth plans and accommodate these additional students. There's a calculator later on a slide that'll show how we broke down each school and the impact on it per year, but essentially we're not going to be adding more than 15 students in 1 year to one grade. And that, of course, is assuming just one classroom, but there's multiple classrooms per grade. So the impact doesn't seem as drastic and all at once as it may appear on the surface. Also, these numbers are a very aggressive sales pace assumption, so it can only get less impactful per year from here. Now, this next slide shows that this bill art development is not the only development that is causing, concern for the school system. There's several already approved developments and new developments coming. So this is really just to show you that we want to be part of the solution of the school capacity concerns, because we're not the only ones who are facing this. We've, met with Chris. We're happy to, contribute to any studies or anything else we can do to help the school system. We actually talked to him about the Legacy Arena, which is directly to the west of our development. They currently have parking issues when they hold large events like graduation. So part of the 17-acre dedication that Jessica mentioned, we had offered to give that to the city as well, so they can potentially build, or the school board, the city, so they can build a parking deck to help with that issue. We've tried to come up with creative solutions at all to help and be part of the solution. And then finally, this is that calculator that I mentioned. This just, again, is a way of how these numbers are projected per school and how many, depending on the product type, how many students it's expected to generate. We have a 3-to-1 ratio of townhomes to single-family students, which produces less students. So that's one thing that we've tried to do to help, is really focus on the townhomes instead of the single-family detached. And again, we're not the only ones who are facing this issue, and we're happy to participate in any studies and anything we can to help minimize the concern. So I will run through these elevations fairly quickly, but this is what we are proposing now. There's actually 6 different product types, and we're flexible on colors and styles. This is just what we found works best in the market. So these are our 2-story, 1-car garage towns. They're 1,500 square feet and either 2 to 3 bedrooms and 2 to 2.5 bathrooms. The ASP is low 300s for those. These are 2-story, 2-car townhomes. Square feet is 1,800, and 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. These will be priced in the mid 300s. We were encouraged to provide some sort of rear load 3-story unit, and so those are going to be in the front of the development. These are our largest townhome unit at almost 1,900 square feet, 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2 to 3.5 bathrooms. These will be priced in the mid 300,000s. These are our 30-foot wide townhomes on 40-foot wide detached lots. These will have anywhere from 2,000 to 2,400 square feet, 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2 to 3.5 bathrooms, priced in the low 400,000s. These are our 50-foot wide single-family lots, so 40-foot wide single-family detached product. Square footage is in 22 to 3,000 range. 3 to 5 bedrooms, 2 to 4.5 bathrooms. These will be priced in the high $400,000 range. And then, as Jessica mentioned, we were asked to incorporate some sort of ranch product to tailor to the age-targeted buyers. These will fit on our 50-foot wide product and have square footages anywhere from 1,400 to 1,900 square feet. And these will be priced in the low to $400,000 range. And bed and bathroom is also 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2 to 3 bathrooms. To touch on the commercial component that you mentioned, we did meet with Chris Pumphrey with Elevate Douglas several times before he moved on to his new position. And we talked about that because he said that the city, really wanted some type of commercial component. And we provided a memo to him that we did include as part of our application. It's dated August 28th, 2025. But essentially, there were a few reasons on why we did not feel that that was the best solution for this development. First off, traffic. Throughout all the public hearings and community meetings we had, we really got the residents, they weren't concerned as much about the density, they weren't concerned about the schools, it was really traffic. That was the last outstanding issue, and that's when the AECOM study was discussed and our project kept getting tabled. So we had our traffic engineer do an analysis on what would happen if we replaced some of our townhome units with commercial, and it increased traffic of that area by 2.85 times. So again, that would only cause more traffic trips, and it seemed like so far we had just been working so hard to eliminate traffic and mitigate that concern. So we wanted to address that. I personally talked to several commercial brokers around the Douglasville area because we're a builder and developer, we don't do any commercial, but I was curious on how is this area for retail? Why hasn't the site been developed? Because the whole thing is general commercial right now. And what I was told was this site is on the wrong side of I-20. All of the big box retailers, all of the commercial, businesses want to be on that Chapel Hill Boulevard or on the south side of I-20. There's just not as much traffic, like retail traffic on that north side area, and it's really hard for small mom and pop or even those franchisees to make it on just a small strip. So they did not recommend at all. They're like, that's going to be tough to try to fill tenants there. And then in other developments where they have that commercial and residential component, a lot of times that commercial unit just stays vacant for so long, or the tenants are constantly turning over. And so it turns more into an eyesore and, something for the HOA to have to deal with. And then finally, he had brought up the city of Woodstock and how they have commercial retail on the bottom of a bunch of residential units. And for us, again, we don't do anything like that, but in general, that does create a condo style ownership because then it's units stacked on top of each other. And condo ownership just adds in all sorts of FHA regulations and hardships. It's higher insurance. It then changes the building code, it turns it into commercial. So everything just gets more expensive, more regulated, and it only disadvantages the homeowner, the people who are living there, because they have to pay for all those fees of the higher costs it takes to develop that community. So I did just want to address that. Of course, we can answer any questions you have, but I really do think this is a great development. We spent a lot of time into the proposal. It's a great location connecting the Legacy Arena, the Hunter Memorial Park, the golf course. It's not far from the Douglas High School. The amphitheater is right there. And there are sidewalks where people we talked a lot about walkability in a lot of our previous public hearings. So we added in the trails, we've added in all the amenities. We're really excited, and we hope that you guys are on board as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much for all of your information. I know you definitely answered several of my questions. Of course, there's still a lot of concerns, not only my concerns, but as you can see, the residents' concerns and also concerns of mayor and council as we sit up here. Just a couple of things. I'm not sure how familiar you are with that particular parcel, because on that side of 20 is where Sports Academy is, whatever that other little shop is that my husband and the boys like so much, where they buy tools. It's also the same side of I-20 as Walmart, as Sam's Club, as our amphitheater, and so many other commercial type outfitters. So I'm not sure where that information came from. I also feel like with the other developments that you pointed out that are within the area, like, oh, look, but they did this. Like, some of those have been there for 20 and 30 years. And I feel like what we're trying to do is to kind of mitigate what's going on. And I know some of the things that I'm hearing from residents and when we've sat in with residents is that they are concerned about density. Yes, they are also concerned about traffic, of course, but traffic comes from density. And one of the things that we're hearing that they do want, though, is they want mixed use. That's what they want. And I know that staff has talked to you guys about that. Senior housing is something else, is something that I know that we have a need for at this time. I am very concerned about this amount of density in that spot where that traffic is, the way it is. But at this time, I'm going to yield to Madam Mayor and Council. Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. Thank you for the presentation. It was very comprehensive. It did answer a lot of questions that I had, but I do have a couple of more. A question that you did not raise, and then a comment on some of the information that was presented. Mm-hmm. So the question would be for Chief Sparks, Dr. Sparks, about public safety and being able to, I know you're set up in zones and all of that, and to bring 400 more homes in this area. Do we have to hire more police officers, or are we able to public safety is one of those, it's like top 4 things that people move to communities for, and so if we're able to handle the capacity.
Yeah, we have to look at that, and more than likely we would have to possibly hire some more officers, because with the density coming in, and it's going to require more calls for service.
Yes.
Not only on us, but fire department as well. But from our standpoint, we will have to maintain some patrolling techniques over there with camera systems, and then the city going to have to buy some more cameras and all this kind of thing to put over there to help with making sure the place is secure.
Yes, sir.
With technology that can possibly take away some manpower. But yes, we will have to look at that.
Yeah, because I know we were in some developments that we asked them to kind of, it wasn't a demand, but it was just an ask about security cameras and that type of thing, so people will feel safe. And it is not gated.
Correct.
It
No
isn't
gates.
gated. Okay. All right. Thanks, Chief. So the only thing I want to touch on, I'm not the best math person. That was my husband's major. But 400 homes, and you said it would only be 15 children out of 400 plus homes. That don't add up to.
So 482
per year.
I'll go. 482 units produces 159 students, according to Dr. Chrismall. He is the one who came up with that number.
42 units.
482.
482 units.
Mm-hmm.
How many children?
159.
And we have an expert subject matter on our council now who was on the school board. So once you can help us with the school board stuff. So 482 units, 159 students. Out of 400, they saying only not even half of those people not gonna have kids at all.
So that's where this calculator, we were never given a calculator by Douglas County, but this was the Fulton County one that I was able to get my hands on.
Mm-hmm.
And so they predict that for every home, so one townhome can equal anywhere from 0 to 0.14 of an elementary school student.
Okay.
Or 0 to 0.07 middle school student, 0, or 0.03 to 0.41 for the single family. So we put it into an Excel, the formula to come up with that chart, and we can share our details with you after the meeting if you truly want to show our work. But we took the average number between those two formulas, used his 159 number, considered our settlements that we're going to have projected each year, and then that's how we came up with our yearly breakdown of how many students would be added.
Of 15, and that's elementary, middle, and high. Or is
So-
15 per high school, 15 elementary, 15?
I think it's 15 per grade.
So 10 annual enrollment growth is just each year. So 10 elementary school students, 4 middle school students, 9 high school students.
Okay. And I guess my concern for that is I'm a mom of 3 adult children now, but they all went through the school system. And when they went to the new school at the time, which was North Douglas, it was growing so fast because of development. They were in trailers. That's not the best conducive environment to learn. And so I know it's been a push from the school system as far as the elected officials, the Board of Education, and the superintendent not to have our children in trailers. And I think they've accomplished that by not having, having the kids in trailers. So I think this influx would possibly put them in trailers, and that's probably why I'm concerned when the school system says they can't handle the kids or at capacity. So that's a concern for me as a mother, having other people move into the community and their kids going, not being able to go into a brick and mortar school and having that that learning environment. So that's a concern for me.
I totally understand, and I've been trying to get more information on how are the kids that are coming into those schools now from the developments that are being developed? How are those students getting
I think
schooled?
the school system is kind of reactionary, like based on development that the city and county does, then they respond. But they have projected, like New Manchester High School and different high schools and middle schools that they've built, I think they're 33 in their portfolio. But students move up grades and graduate, so they've been able to keep. I don't think we have any trailers, is the point I'm making. And I don't know if this development would bring trailers or not. But there's a reason that they said no, and that concerns me. But, having kids and just having them come through the school system with a development that would impact students. So that's my only concern. His main thing was public safety and police and fire, not just the fire chief. I don't know if Dr. Allen is here, he usually comes. But police, fire,
and Madam
the
Mayor,
school
if I can
system.
toss in our sanitation department as well, because they would more than likely have to add another route to accommodate a development of this size.
Okay, yep, that's your committee. Okay, that's all I had, Madam Chairman. Thank you so much for answering the questions. I appreciate you bringing that forward. Oh, and the commercial piece, that's the other thing, because I brought that in the beginning. Mixed use, we're hearing a lot of that in our community, is that we don't want, or not, you'd say you can't want, because public property owners have rights. And the right for me is what it is currently zoned as. It's a privilege for you to have anything change from what it currently is zoned to have something different. And if it's different, to bring a high quality development to the community. So, but the community has said, we like mixed use, and whatever that looks like, it's more than just houses. The Board of Commissioners had a moratorium on apartments, moratorium on certain things. So we in our community, we want to have a plethora and lots of choices for housing choices, just a difference. So, but thank you so much for the presentation. We appreciate your interest in coming to the city of Douglasville. Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all I have.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem, you only have 90 seconds remaining.
That'll be just me clearing my throat. Thank you, Madam Chair. Where to take the first bite of the elephant? I'll start with a piece of advice. Please, never, ever use the word product to describe a building in front of an architect.
Okay.
Don't do that. Doesn't matter. Shouldn't use it in front of anybody else either. That's a bad word to call a building, because you're talking about something that somebody's going to live their life in, raise their children, grow old in, be part of the community. It's not a product. Tube of toothpaste is a product. A building is not a product.
Noted. Thank you.
If that was all I could get, that was the most important one. The Madam Mayor made a lot of very good points, as did the chair, regarding the schools, issues that are coming. You talked about wanting to be cooperative and work with these other institutions and entities, but the problem is that each of these entities, you're still putting the burden on them. They're still going to be having to spend the money. The school is going to have to spend the money to add classrooms. We're going to have to spend money to add trucks and staff and personnel for sanitation, add personnel for the police department. All that burden still gets put on us. You're not really sharing it. We don't have development fees in this community, so we can't have you participate or share in the expenses. So that's a disadvantage. You've made a number of points about, well, okay, well, at least we're not like this development over here, that development over there. You know, well, he only robbed 3 banks. I'm only robbing 2 banks. So, you know, it's not as bad.
I do want to follow up on that if I can. What did I say? I'm confused by that comment, even when Councilmember.
You were talking about, you were trying to compare yeah, you were talking about adding traffic, the density of other developments around it. You mentioned about 2% a year. Okay, that's fine. You're spreading out that traffic over several years, but at the end of the 5 years, you still have that increase in traffic. Again, one more burden put on the city, the county, and the state, because then we have to either add lanes, add traffic control devices, and so forth. That's still burden that's being put on us that you don't really have any responsibility for. You mentioned Woodstock as an example. One of the reasons you didn't want to do mixed-use development as the expenses that go with that and the complications of the development that go along. But what you're sort of skirting around is the fact that yes, that does make the development more expensive, but it also attracts a higher level of development, which is something we're after, is higher levels of development. We don't have a problem with expensive housing if it's going to bring, that type of the additional development that goes along with the more expensive development. I know you're very proud of the products that you're showing us here, but frankly, I wouldn't be that proud. I'm looking at these buildings. These are what we design when the client doesn't have any money. And this is not, I don't think you're going to get what you think you're going to get for these. So this is not the quality that we're looking for in this neighborhood. I don't think you can make a mistake when you go as higher as you can as far as in terms of the quality of the housing. You can't go too high. So I'm going to step aside for a moment and let some others get a chance to talk.
Can I respond to any of that?
You're welcome to.
Sure. So we are trying to fix a missing middle housing problem. So people cannot afford high, expensive housing everywhere. So we believe that this location is great. It's right near the highway and it's perfect for residential use. It has been sitting as commercially zoned for years. No one will develop it because it's not the best use for it. As Jessica mentioned, they tried for industrial before. Industrial was shut down. Everyone kind of agreed that residential was the best use for this location. So I agreed mixed use is great, and it's just not for this location. This is the only thing that we can control.
Price range you said you had for this?
For the townhomes, they start
okay.
Yeah, townhomes are low 300s to mid 300s, depending on the product size. Single family homes were low 400s to mid 400s.
You consider that affordable?
Yes. In this day and age, you can't actually build anything in the $200,000 range. Okay. But continuing to add more expense, add more standards, add, more and more and more only prices people out of the market, which is what we're not trying to do. So if that's just generally what we believe, and we're trying to fix that solution. So.
Okay. Madam Chair?
Absolutely. Coach, I think you had something to add.
I was just curious, the different elevations, the different groupings, do you, at this time, do you have any kind of percentage of what you're looking at? Like what percentage of the development would be the ranch product, which you said was more or less aimed at that senior or 55 or older potentially? Mm-hmm. And then the 50-foot lots, the 40-foot lots, the different groupings, do you have at this time, and if not, maybe Monday or Tuesday when we meet, but I just would be interested, is it going to be more of one type and small groupings of the other, or is it going to be kind of evenly spread out as far as the type of homes and townhomes that you're offering here?
Yes, so we have a site plan that breaks everything down by color, and I can go through each one if you'd like. So for
What
the
page is that on?
It's on 48. It's like a tan.
This one here?
It's a yellow, mustard
Yeah.
yellow taupe
Mhm.
in a
Okay.
cream-looking color.
Yep, so the 3-story alley-loaded townhomes, there's 88 of those.
That's the yellow on the perimeter there, or is that? the-
Tan ones.
Those
Oh,
are
the
at the
tan.
front of the
Okay,
community.
Okay.
The front entry, 1-car garage townhomes, we have the second highest of those, 123 units. And then those will be mixed in with the 2-story, 2-car garage front-load townhome units for 146 units. And then the 40-foot wide lots, 30-foot wide product is 76 units. And then the 50-foot wide product is 50-foot wide lot, 40-foot wide product is 49.
Okay. Yeah, and I have my own concerns, but I want to hear more, and I want to also hear from any of the folks that showed up for the public hearing. I do like the idea of the mixture, the different size. You got several price ranges. My daughter and her husband just spent a year looking for a house. They landed in a development in the county not too far away. Mid to upper 300s. 2 professionals trying to afford a house. It's not easy right now for any demographic in the city. So even though like I said, I want to hear the whole thing, but I do like some of the variety as far as the size of the homes and the price ranges. The density is definitely a factor. And one thing about the density I was wondering is, as far as the amenities, I like the idea of the amenities, but it seemed like one pool area for 482 homes or townhomes and homes. I don't know. Is that standard in a large development like that?
Yeah, we tailor the size of the pool it's called the bathing load, but we make sure that there's enough pool for the amount of residents. And then we also just added in a lot of other amenities to fit everyone's different lifestyle.
And I know Councilman Caldwell would be a better source as far as the school system, but the school system, they've done a good job of keeping up with the growth in Douglas County and Douglasville in particular, and they're required to by law. They have to, and they manage 159 students over the course of 4 or 5 years to develop this. Doesn't sound huge to me, but it is. When the school's already at capacity, so I know that's something that is going to have to be looked at. And traffic is traffic. I hate it as much as anybody sitting up here and anybody sitting out there. I just have figured out which days to get out in it, which days and what time of the year it is, and all those other things. But I do have one last question, and I'll hush. City Manager, are you aware of anything in the future for Highway 5 that's going to run by one of their entrances, as far as anything that the city or the state, that's a state highway, so widening that as a core,
We've consistently asked for federal support and state support to renew the Highway 5 bridge and to widen Highway 5. That's going to take federal funds.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to do all of that locally, so it continues to be on our priority list. I know our city engineer is in the room, so we can get a definitive answer on potentially how close we are. AECom, our traffic engineer, has written a study on that, so we're on ready, set, go. The mayor at some point may hear it as a part of being on ARC, but to say that we have secured funding, no, we're just waiting and pending on that.
And I'm sorry, I lied. One last question. As far as turn-in and turn-outs, will y'all be, are you proposing to this development turn-in lanes?
Yes, on both entrances.
Okay, I just wanted to kind of get as much information as I can as we consider this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Coach. Anyone else?
Chairman Miller.
Yes, sir.
Just because it was mentioned a couple times, I served as the vice chair for the Board of Education. So to Mayor's point, the school system a lot of times has to be reactionary to development. And so one of the priorities when I served was to not have our students in trailers. And so we were able to accomplish that goal. And so I know that as the city of Douglasville continues to grow, it's going to, of course, become an even greater challenge. The resources that it takes to build a school and to also continue to ensure that students will matriculate from K through 5, such as the elementary school, is certainly going to present a challenge. Of course, even with the Legacy Arena, I was a part of that project as well. And so in that area, there's significant challenges. And so I think the main concern is certainly going to be how we educate our children, right? And so I know that we ultimately want to promote development, et cetera, but it has to be able to match all facets of who we're connected with. And so just because it was mentioned, certainly a concern, putting up an elementary school, middle school, it's certainly expensive, and as it relates to federal funds, then I don't really see that growing, so that presents other challenges for the local budget. So I just wanted to point that out.
Are there other solutions besides building a brand new school that the school board would ever consider, such as like repurposing an existing space in the school that's underutilized to turn it into a classroom space, or I don't know, stagger schedules? Or I was researching into redistricting. I know you guys don't want to do that too often because people buy homes depending on the school, but there's
probably not, because if you look at most of the schools, they are utilized. And so currently I don't know that there's any buildings that aren't utilized or almost at capacity, because of course it's a matter of looking at the future growth as it relates to the county in addition to the city. And so you have schools that are in the city and schools that are in the county. And so it's a matter of looking at what's to come. And so even with this development, I understand it may seem small, but when there's other development coming, then all these children have to be educated in Douglas County. So I'm going to say no.
Thank you so much, Councilman Caldwell. Madam Mayor, did you have something else to add?
Oh, the only thing I was going to say about the school system, I was just at Zest Academy before Christmas, and Superintendent North has said that we've had more applications for charter schools because of the availability and classroom sizes in the school system currently. So it's not really, I don't know if it's just how you perceive charter schools. So again, but Zest surprised me. It was at capacity. There are a lot of kids at Zest Academy over there off of Links. So that, and then there's the Planning Commission denied it. Do we have the reasons? I was trying to find what their concerns were.
My understanding was density and the lack of services.
Okay, all right, thank you.
When I spoke with them. Yep, absolutely, thank you. The only other thing that I'll add to that, I know it was brought up of us having this missing middle housing, and I just don't agree that the missing middle is just a price point so much as it's a type of housing and a location of housing. And while maybe this could be a missing middle, it's quite frankly entirely too large to be a missing middle. And my only other point that I feel like I have right now is with the one-car garages. As a realtor, I loathe one-car garages and communities with them. If you've ever had to show a home in a community with a one-car garages on those streets, you cannot get down the street for all the cars parked on the street, which also means that oftentimes there's more issues with first responders and other services trying to get down those streets. So I'm going to have a real hard time with one-car garages as well.
It's good opportunity to point out the advantages of having alleyways in some of these developments, and that's something that I don't think I'm seeing anything there. It's something that we've been advocating for as well, as having rear entrances. We were talking about the garage issue, and again, I don't want to try not to get into aesthetics too much, but I think a lot of I think if you really probe the newer generation of home buyers, don't necessarily want to see the garage as a front door. They would like to see the garages either on the side or in the rear. So something to consider in planning these types of developments is the application of alleyways and rear entrances, and not so much the Levittown look. So anyway.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, anyone else? Because, friends, this is a public hearing. So at this time, let's go ahead and have that public hearing. So if we have, let's knock this one out. If we have anyone here who would like to speak for this item. So this first one, if you would like to speak in support of this item, and if not, we'll close that portion, move on to those who would like to speak in opposition to this item. If you've not filled out a comment card, go ahead and grab one of those for us, please, and fill it out, and you can give it to Ms. Callan right here on your right before coming to the podium. If you'll give us your name and address for the record, please, when you start. And again, we're not going to be able to answer all those questions right away. We'll try to get those answered if we can at the end of the public hearing. But yeah, come on up, dear.
Good evening, council members and Madam Mayor. I am Cynthia Smith. I reside at 7076 Rose Lake Circle, Douglasville, Georgia 30134. I reside in the Rosewood community subdivision, and I listened to DRB, and with all due respect, they mentioned that the homeowners of Rosewood were only concerned with density. Well, I'm a homeowner, and we have talked to them before and spoken to them, and it's well beyond density that we are concerned with. So the project is completely incompatible with the character of our single-family homes. I moved in Rosewood 20 years ago. And when moving in Rosewood, the zoning and planning, there was a commitment that I felt from this council at that time that we would maintain the character of our subdivision. They talked about the width of the units being 40 feet. Well, we're double that size within Rosewood subdivision. They mentioned that there were a couple of single-family homes that were less dense. Well, there is a lot, and I am very appreciative of your thoughtful questions, because some of the same things that you mentioned were some of our concerns as well. So it's not just the density and the traffic, it is the compatibility. It is also, we're concerned about the infrastructure. Now, we're gonna have right-hand turn lanes, but Rose Avenue is not structured so that it can hold that kind of traffic and density. I know they said they done traffic studies and they looked at Highway 5, but I haven't heard a lot about Rose Avenue in which. Then they talked about the elevation of the homes. The elevations would take away from the aesthetics of Rosewood subdivision. The elevations would be above and looking over into others' yards and their homes, and take away their freedom to enjoy their backyards and the comfortability of their homes that they purchase in belief that this committee would support us in terms of compatibility in that area. I also listened to them talk about what was comparable on the north side, and again, I appreciate your thoughtful questions because we do have the big box stores on it. We have Sam's, we have Walmart, we have Academy, we have the big box stores. Also heard them talk about wanting to give the city a parcel of land to help alleviate some concerns with traffic. Well, if you're already stretching an area and it's busting at the seams, providing that parcel of land just further exacerbates that problem. It's going to burst. And then we have a whole host of problems associated with that, such as with our police department trying to ensure that they protect the community. Also, again, with infrastructure, what about our water systems? What about stormwater runoff? I haven't heard anything in terms of environmentally, how will this affect our area? We are now chopping trees down left and right. The homes are not situated in such that it will be compatible even to the environment, much less our community. And then you hit on a number of items as it relates to schools. So in terms of our schools, we're not prepared for the surge in enrollment. We're just not. We're not prepared for the surge in enrollment in this development. So
I'm sorry, ma'am, you're out of time.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Mm-hmm.
Hello, if you'll please give us your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Naomi Jones, and I live at 8920 Elena Rose, also in the Rosewood community. And I appreciate the thoughtful conversation and looking at, you know, how this is really affecting our neighborhood. I moved here 3.5 years ago from New York, so I know about living in close quarters. And that was my joy of coming to Georgia and being able to see that we could get space for the kind of money that you're going to spend. Now, my home was in New York, was in the 400,000s. It was my home in New York fit into my basement here. So when you're talking about in the 400,000s and you're still only wanting to give somebody 1,500 square feet, that's New York prices. That's New York size of a home. And as my predecessor here, Miss Cynthia just said, that, you know, we want to have the character of a community that really supports home ownership. As you said, don't call it a product. It's somebody's home. It's where you're going to raise your children. I came here with my daughter and her husband and 3 kids. They are actually we're able to have a multi-family home because of the size. They are going to put people in small places. You have every family has more than one car. So 1-car garages is not going to support the neighborhood. You're going to have people parking on the street. The one thing we have is we have enough garage space that we don't have to park on the street. I'm also concerned because I have young grandchildren with the school system who the oldest one is 5. They're going to be going to this school system. I don't want to live like I was living in New York. That's why I came here. So I appreciate that we don't want children in trailers. We don't want them just to be crowded 35 to 40 children to a classroom. Just because we want to put a housing subdivision in place. I'm also concerned with the in and out of their subdivision, in that when they want to have one on Rose Avenue. So unless you're putting a street light there that would give people the ability to turn left and right, that's going to be a problem. Also, it's going to be a problem on the Highway 5 side, because if you're trying to make a left onto Highway 5, how do you make that when traffic is coming both ways? I'm just a little stressed out, which is another meeting, but I need to have those little dotted lines when you turn, because it's dark over there. So, just bringing, and when you say 2% of what? When you have families that have 3 and 4 cars, because you're saying you're gonna put 50-foot lots, it just seems like it's gonna, I look at the development that's behind the mall. It's so tight there. Those streets are so tight that you would not, if you could not put your car in a garage, you would be on the street. And if you're on the street, you really can't drive by, because I've driven there. So, senior housing, seniors would need a different type of housing. So it's the kids, it's the traffic, the style of the house, and just basically right now, to get out of Rosewood and get to I-20 during rush hour is almost 15 minutes. Add 400 more homes, and we're gonna go. And now a lot of people have started going down Rose Avenue and going down Veterans Memorial. And I'm noticing a lot of traffic going down Veterans Memorial. So when you hit Rose and Veterans, you're like waiting 2 and 3 lights just to get through there. There is no other exit for us over there. So you're either going down to Veterans or you're trying to get to I-20. And with this added 400 more homes, I just don't see that it keeps to the character of the neighborhood, and it doesn't help Douglasville be a great place to live. So 8 seconds, I made it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, folks, did we have anyone else? Don't everyone run up at once. Oh, no, okay. If you'll please give us your name and address for the record.
Alan Cosby, 9092 Rose Avenue. And I'm not going to talk long, but my main issue is the traffic and all the reasons y'all mentioned about all the traffic. Well, that's one of the reasons I would think it's not a good idea, but I want to focus on mainly about that is the our emergency services, fire, police, and all them. That's one of their main routes they use coming and going when there's emergencies or whatever, but they come down and up from Rose Avenue. That's all I got.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cosby. Come on up, Mr. Young. Give us your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. I am Barney Young Jr., 7049 Rose Lake Circle. So my biggest concern, well, first, I do want to thank the DRB group because they have done a lot with this proposal. I've personally spoken to them twice on behalf of Rosewood, and they've really done a lot to try to amend the proposal. But like I told them then, the biggest concern is really the traffic and all the stuff that we have coming online. We have 10 warehouses that are going to be built between 2026 and 2027 on the Bright Star Connector. We have the townhouse community on the other end of Rosewood next to the funeral home, and we have the apartments downtown. So that's like a lot of stuff coming online. So, and I've never seen a traffic study that applied all of that. So that's like a lot of stuff. It's gonna be miserable in a couple of years, and just that density will make it worse. That's all.
Thank you. I think we've got a couple of minutes left if anyone else wanted to speak. I want to make sure I'm giving y'all a chance to hop up. No? Okay. Well, at this time, let's go ahead and close the public hearing. I know I heard something mentioned of traffic lights. I can tell you that I did hear it mentioned traffic lights are in the proposal, so there would be traffic lights with turn lanes to get in and out of the development. On both. On both. I don't think I heard any other questions that needed to be addressed. Okay.
I did.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor.
I apologize. Were you going to open it up for us or no?
No, please go ahead.
Okay. I would like for is our city engineer still here? Mr. Marcus, could you please come forward?
If I can take a point of order, doesn't the applicant have the right to rebut?
You do. And I had a couple of things for I apologize.
Okay. I'm
So
happy to do
I'll
it in
ask
whatever
you
order.
about the WSA. I'm not sure, but I don't know if that's engineer or not. So is that the point of order? Do we do?
You do. I just kind of yield to Madam Mayor in this.
Oh no, I don't want
instance.
to. I don't want to
Yeah.
mess up. So we'll wait and
Madam
I'll ask
Mayor,
those
this
questions.
is your
after.
rodeo.
But I don't want them to feel that we're attacking you. I was just trying to get some information on those couple of things that were brought up by the citizens. And one was for the city engineer about the water infrastructure for WSA that Ms. Smith brought up. You've already addressed lights that Ms. Jones said, and Highway 5 about traffic in general that everyone mentioned. I know I'm on the Traffic Air TAQC, Traffic Air Quality Commission for ARC, and we've put in for Highway 5, for the bridge, for the expansion as city manager has mentioned, but where are we in that process? And I apologize if I'm jumping ahead.
No, that's fine. Sure. So right now, in the process, like our city manager mentioned earlier, it's just sort of like a waiting game. We're just waiting. We're trying to secure funding, federal funding for the project. We do have our consultant AECOM that's pushing for this project as well. We're including it in our comprehensive transportation plan, and that'll help us secure that funding as well. That'll be supporting document to push forward.
So we are looking comprehensively about traffic in that area.
Yes,
and WSA, did we get anything report on them as far as the water infrastructure is concerned with stormwater management, all of that?
That I will have to follow up with WSA.
Engineering?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
They're working on an expansion plan right now, so I don't see where that they would have an issue providing water services in the years coming.
Okay.
And Madam Mayor, we did lobby our members of Congress with the chamber last year for expansion on Highway 5 and a new bridge over the interstate. So I can't say that we came away feeling terribly confident that money was in the pipeline, but we at least we did keep it on their agenda. So
Yeah, when you went to DC for us for that. All right, thank you.
Thank
you so much, Madam Chairman.
Thank
I
you, Mr.
apologize to
Thompson.
the applicant if
No,
I
I'm
jumped.
sorry about that, ladies. Yeah, for sure.
No problem. I just didn't want to interrupt, so. All right, to rebuttal, several comments. Since you all were mentioning the stormwater and environmental issues, obviously a lot of that comes up at permitting. The project can't be developed, it doesn't meet your stormwater standards if the drainage detention isn't up to, if there's not sufficient water, if there's not sewer capacity, the project can't be developed if that's not the case. I was just sidebarring with Mr. Gray, asking him, because I know at every zoning, at least in every local government where I work, the application gets provided to the different departments to provide preliminary comments. And so I would hope that Douglasville would have identified something, if there was a preliminary issue, would have identified something during that preliminary review. And obviously the details get worked out. It's interesting, there were comments about the character of the area, and I just want to remind you again, this property is predominantly zoned general commercial. And when you look at the properties that are surrounding it, there's not a consistent character. Yes, I understand that Rosewood has a low density. It's about 2 units an acre. The Fairways has a similarly low density. There are 2 single-family neighborhoods that are right there. But there are also 2 apartment developments. There's also a townhome development. There's also, you've got the arena, you've got the golf. There's a lot of different development in this area. You've got the Walmart Supercenter. So there's a lot of different development in this immediate area. So it's really hard to say what the character is. And so suggesting that Rosewood is the character of the area, I think is disingenuous. From an infrastructure perspective, can this site hold the traffic that's going to be generated? We did a traffic study. We did a traffic study where the parameters were actually set by Douglasville and by the state for what had to be studied. And just for everybody's benefit, the traffic study includes 2% background growth. So the concern about was this development included? Was this townhome development included? Was this included? Yes, that's part of the background growth. They take the traffic that's on the roads and then they increase it by 2% for every year, thinking that there's going to be new development that's not on the road today. So that's your 2% background growth. You know, the traffic study did identify we have turn lanes that are required. There is a traffic signal on Rose Avenue that we will be utilizing. So there will be a signalized intersection for that. From a impact on the adjacent properties, and I'm speaking specifically to Rosewood, this project proposes to have a 100-foot landscaped buffer area with Rosewood, where we were proposing to have a pedestrian trail if the city so chose. That's just as good as what the property is zoned today. I mean, there's a commercial zoning. So if the property was to be developed with a commercial center, those single-family homes could be looking at the loading dock of a commercial development. I think I would prefer to be looking at single-family homes, the backs of single-family homes. So I think it's certainly an improvement for the adjacent property owners. And I'll let Cameron say anything else she wants to say.
I know, right?
I think, I mean, that's, Jessica pretty much covered everything. Only thing I would add to stormwater is we can't add more stormwater runoff than the parcel naturally has. So we're not going to be negatively impacting the environment in any way. We have to treat and capture our own stormwater. And as far as the different home styles, we have plenty of parking provided, parking spaces in the community already. We have the required amount. I think we have a higher amount of parking spaces than are required by the city. So there's not going to be any street parking throughout the community, and we'll definitely have the HOA restrict that anyway with signs. We always do that. And I guess finally, just the current by right zoning will produce X times more traffic than a residential use. So we are lowering the risk of over trafficking the area. So just thank you.
Hold tight, because I think, Coach, you had a question?
Just one about the walking trail. Between the walking trail and the 8-foot wide side, there are sidewalks within the subdivision, proposed subdivision, correct?
Correct.
And then on the road, front roads, fronting Rose Avenue. And so I guess my question is, that walking trail, will it combine with the sidewalks, connect the whole subdivision? I mean, I see this walking trail on the one side specifically, but I guess I was wondering about connectivity as far as walking trails and the sidewalk. And I gotta admit, I do like the idea that it connects to the backside of Hunter Park, which I'd kind of like to ask our director where that comes into the park. But anyway, to my question, as far as connectivity with the sidewalks and the walking trail.
Yes, I'm not sure if I can still pull up the site plan to show, but the walking trail that DRB will be implementing is at the north side of the property in that 100-foot landscape easement, and that does connect to Rose Avenue, just north of the traffic light. And it's still along our property frontage, so we have to install a sidewalk if there's not one already there, or at least widen it and improve it. So it will connect the public sidewalk out front along Rose Avenue to Hunter Park.
Yeah, and I don't know, I mean, I just think with a subdivision this size, with that, maybe if there was a way to look at potentially connecting everything all the way around. I don't know if that's possible with what you've got. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. But that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you,
Madam Chair.
Coach. Absolutely. Anyone else? Madam Mayor?
I apologize.
No.
Thank you so much. May 12th, it says from WSA that the authority has an existing 12-inch water main on the right-of-way for Highway 5, an existing 6-foot water main on the right-of-way for Rose Avenue, and that the authority, let me see, the authority may require the developer, at the developer's cost, to upgrade the capacity of existing infrastructure prior to the connection in existing infrastructure is at one near the capacity, and that the owner developer of the project is responsible for verifying the locations. And also it says something, state waters of the property, 50-foot undisturbed stream buffers. It suggested that you retain the services of a private engineer. They go on and say all that kind of stuff. So it does say that you would have to, the developer would have to provide more capacity. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a surprise. That all gets worked out in the land disturbance
Yes,
permit
ma'am. Thank you.
process.
Thank you so much. Just to bring that to your
Absolutely.
attention.
Anyone else? No? Okay. Ladies, thank you very much for your proposal. I know that y'all have worked for a very long time with staff and really whittled away to get this number cut essentially in half at this point. So if I can send you guys away with anything, I would say please keep in mind, I hear what you're saying, but understand that our residents, when they're speaking, they're talking about their homes and their livelihoods. This is where they live. This is where their families live. Like, I have relatives in this area, elderly relatives at that. So the traffic really is a true concern. Also, the one-car garage is probably going to be a hard limit for me as well. I'm not sure if anyone else has any words of wisdom, but okay. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Y'all have a good night. Y'all, look, it is almost 8 o'clock and we have so much more to do. So
It's the beginning of the year. It's
20 to go.
Okay. Item number 26-019 says hold a public hearing and consider a request for special land use permit for massage therapy property zoned general commercial district being located at a portion of 2.38 acres on 639 Thornton Road, Suite 111, Lithia Springs, Georgia 30122, and land lot 423, District 18, Section 2, Parcel ID 0014, application by K Massage 18 LP. Mr. Gray.
Good evening again. Yes, this is a proposal for a special land use permit for massage therapy located on Thornton Road. This is an existing massage therapy. In 2005, the owner came to the city hall to apply for a business license, and it came to our attention that they were operating with an expired special land use permit. So code compliance went out to investigate and had to shut the business down temporarily until they got the special land use permit and then therefore the business license. And that concludes, and I do believe that Chief would like to chime in.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Before Chief chimes in, so when exactly did their business license expire?
It looked like it was 3 years. No, I'm sorry, that was the special land use permit. So it had been expired for about a year or so. But
Okay.
the special land use permit was from 2015.
15. Okay. Thank you for that. Chief, you had something to add to that?
Yeah, so we got information from code enforcement that the business on 324, 25, and 328, 25, they had cited them for operating without a business license. So we did an undercover operation. And I mind you that this case is still open in state court. So we sent our undercover guys in there, and we ended up making some charges of prostitution at that location, at K Massage on Thornton Road. So I don't want to get into the nuts and bolts of this case because, you know, it's still open. But you got the same people coming back and wanting another opportunity to open up again.
Thank you, Chief. Wow. I don't know, in light of 2026 and as much sex trafficking as we have, that really hurts my heart to hear that. I'm kind of at a loss for words. Madam Mayor, Council, does anyone else have anything to say at this time?
I don't know if there's any way we could maybe table to after the court date, or whatever will be a determining factor. I'm not certain if I'm comfortable making a call for yes or no if they're still in, under, you know,
Our,
I don't know.
understanding what you're saying, and our code requires that it be tabled to a meeting. Basically, you have 2 meetings that you could do before, our code requires for that hearing to take place and for a decision to be made on the matter. So that would not be adjudicated before that time.
Oh, it would not be adjudicated before then.
I would highly doubt it.
So if we are uncomfortable and we deny it, they can come back in a year
That's the
for
zoning.
special land use permit?
That's the zoning timeline if there's a denial.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
No,
Legal.
absolutely. There is I'm sorry. I was really thrown off by this one. Is the applicant here, and would they like to add anything? I know
Yes.
that we do have a public hearing to have. My apologies.
Anybody else on council want to talk? Okay.
Hey guys, if you'll please give us your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Kimberly, and I'm helping the applicant with translation. For the property, name is Dan Peng, property 639 Thornton Road, Suite 111, Lithia Springs. 你们之前那个案件的话是关于嫖娼的，你们有结束就是结案吗？还是什么情况？没有，都结完了，都结完了，和解了。和解了是吗？ So regarding the lawsuit case regarding prostitution, from what my understanding about the case was that it was resolved. We went to court and we've paid the fees and fines that they were given for. I believe it was operating without a license. I believe I'm a little confused if there was a different case that was open that we weren't aware about, or
So I do want to clarify, the case that Chief is discussing is against one of the employees at the time that it was operating before they were shut down. The case that this young lady is referring to is the municipal court case where there was a code compliance citation for operating without a business license, which is how all of this was kind of established and discovered.
Okay.
Our code compliance team was working closely with the police department, trying to make sure that the business couldn't keep operating. And at that same time, there was a sting operation that the chief discussed.
Okay.
So the case that she is discussing, yes, it was closed. They paid a fine in 2025.
Okay.
And that's for the business license, not the prostitution.
That's correct. And at that time, we went over the steps that in order to obtain a business license again, you would have to apply for the special land use permit. So after a number of months, they had submitted that application to community development, and then we are here today. Ma'am, does that answer your question?
Yes. 所以你们有关于那个嫖娼的案件，你们是结案了是吗？还是？结案了，交罚款了，不是，他说的是另外一个关于嫖娼的那个是结案了。
So I wanted to make sure that the charges were not against the.
他说庭下和解的嘛。
That works.
Oh, so.
That's what you get. You get a manager. They put their name on it, and then other people come in and run the business.
Okay. Did that clarify as far as the case that's closed and then the case that's still pending?
Sorry, I'm still a little confused. Okay, there's just wanted to clarify. There's still a case opened against them regarding prostitution at the property
On a state level.
On a state level, that hasn't been closed yet.
Correct.
他们说你们没有，你们还有一个关于嫖娼的案件，现在是在一个州性的一个案例是没有关的。
Chairman Miller, quick question.
Yes.
Is this appropriate?
I'm so confused right now. I don't
So I
even know
just
what's
have a
on.
question. Okay, so as it relates to, I know, of course, there was some hesitation as it relates to prostitution, but what they're asking for has nothing to do with the applicants. The prostitution, et cetera, has nothing to do with the applicants, correct? This is a separate case for an employee of theirs, correct, from what I
So-
understood?
Correct. They want a business license that their name goes on, and then they have other people who come in and work under their name, essentially. Does that make sense?
This company on Thornton Road was K Massage. He's the owner, operator of K Massage. He may not have been there personally, but the people who go there and work. So it's a ruse. That's what they do. I mean, we've seen this happen in the city and other businesses like this, where we made cases. Because they put his name on it. He don't have to be there, but the people who work there, and we ended up charging one of the ladies who worked there. Because we were getting complaints about people going in and out.
And only the employee or subcontractor is charged in this, the owner cannot be charged?
Well, it would have to be the person who allegedly committed the act that
Right.
is actually charged with a criminal offense.
So the chief is saying the license is at jeopardy because of the way the business is being run.
Yeah.
So even though they're applying for the license, they're responsible for anything that happens at the business.
Correct.
So should they have the privilege of receiving the license to operate the business in a ethical way when they were operating with an expired license, and then when they were told to renew the license, it still took them months to renew the license?
Right. I feel like we all
And it
kind of
might
need
be
to
a language
marinate with
barrier.
this. I think that we all might need to marinate with this for a moment, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and have that public hearing. Are y'all okay with that? Yeah.
Or and after this, we'll take a 10-minute break.
Okay.
I think everybody needs to.
May I ask a couple of questions?
Yes, Mr. Dodson, please do.
This is simply a rental space in a commercial building, isn't it? Okay. Mr. Grady, you mentioned there was a special land use permit that was taken out years ago and then expired. Who took that out? What company had that special land use permit before? Is it the same company?
I don't have the information right now, but I can get that for you.
Okay.
But it was K Massage, and the applicant is now Q Massage.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And we do have to have a public hearing at this time. Did you have any additional questions for us before we do that?
Mr. Gray said it expired years ago.
2015. Okay, so we need to have a public hearing, so if you want to have a seat for just a moment, we'll go ahead and open the floor, and then you can come back up and we can figure out, as far as coming back for Tuesday, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Guys, we do need to hold a public hearing at this time, so if we have anyone here who would like to speak on this item, whether it be for or against this item, if you'll please come up and give us your name and address for the record. Okay. And if we don't, let's close the public hearing. Before I move along, do y'all have additional questions, thoughts?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Gray, how long did they operate without a license before code enforcement caught up with them?
I think it was between 3 and 5 years.
3 and 5 years.
Yeah.
So it expired, they took it out in 2014, if what I read in the agenda item, and they expired in 2015, and then they continued to run it without a business license for several years after that. Huh?
And
It's a
the,
special land use
permit.
The SLUP,
Yes.
right. But, okay. And when someone takes out applies for and receives a business license for the SLUP, that they're given the information as to, okay, this is only good until this date, then you have to renew. I mean, it's not like they took it out and didn't know.
So the special land use permit, according to council, in terms of how you come up with your decision, it can be open as if, you know, you don't have an expiration date.
Right.
Sometimes it can be a year or two, and then that's when you have to reapply and come back before planning commission and council.
Thank
And
you.
historically, Councilman Watts, the council would approve them for typically a year or maybe 3 years tops. I think that
was 1 year.
And there was even churches that had to come forward every year and renew. I think the practice in the past few years has been just to make an open special land use, that as long as that business is operating that type of use on that property, they can continue to do so. If that changes, they may have to come back before council.
Right,
Okay.
if they have a violation, then that kind of gives us a warning bell that we need to look at their special land use permit.
Okay.
Well, I don't know the practice at that point in time. I'm not sure that when you get your business license, anyone verifies to see the special land use permit is still in effect.
Okay.
And that's I'm going to guess that that's what happened here.
I would agree,
So
Joe.
it wasn't congruent
Uh,
with the license
that-
and the SLUP.
No, yeah, I
Okay.
know the business license, it's a separate department.
Yes,
In other
sir.
words, you know, when you go get one, they can tell if it's commercial or not. They can see a zoning map, but that doesn't show up. You have to check to see if there's a special land use permit, and I doubt seriously we would do
If
that.
somebody was checking, okay.
So if I might add, yes, part of our review for business license is to check for special land use permits or anything else that can give us information before we approve a business license.
And to Mr.
So
Dawson,
that- oh, sorry.
yeah, I was gonna say, and to Mr. Dawson's point, at that time, one, we wouldn't have possibly even had the software to do it, and we were checking files by hand, so we would not have been doing that.
Okay.
So the issue today is they're looking to renew their business license.
No,
It's even to
they
get-
need a
it-
SLUP.
It lapsed. They now have to get a special land use permit. It's a
And then
new
the next step
application.
is the business license.
Okay,
And once they have that, they can be issued a business license, because the zoning for that use at that property will be complete.
so if we give them the SLUP, they can then apply for the business license. But the business is in jeopardy because they're in litigation currently.
There's
No.
not the business,
This,
but an employee that used to
work at the business,
before
okay,
it was closed due to not having a business license.
okay.
I know that's a lot of,
It is, and then, but we have had complaints from the police department at this current business
And from citizens.
and from citizens. Okay, and a sting operation warranted some concerns. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Do we all have our questions answered? We can kind of go marinate, pray about it, and take this item up on Tuesday? Okay, beautiful, thank you.
We take a break?
I'm okay with that. Y'all, okay.
We need a break?
Okay, you got 2.5 minutes.
2.5?
I'm kidding. Just go quick.
Okay, we're gonna take a recess.
A recess.
We'll take a recess for 5 minutes and then come back. This council's in recess for 5 minutes. I don't have the. It's her committee, so we won't start until the chair gets here. We will reconvene the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
Item C, as in Charlie, says item number 26-023 says authorize staff to refer to the Planning Commission a city-initiated rezoning from R2 single-family residential detached district to PSP, which is public semi-public district, at 6695 Brown Street in land lot 739, District 1, Section 3, parcel ID 0002. Application by the City of Douglasville. Mr. Gray.
Good evening again. This is for Jesse Davis Park. They would like to join all the parcels. And upon review, it was discovered that we had 2 parcels on that land that are zoned R2. So to keep that consistent, it is good when you join the parcels that all the parcels are the same zoning classification. So we are bringing that before you so we can take it to the Planning Commission to rezone to PSP. And of course, it'll come back to you all. And after that is completed, then we can join the parcels for one plat.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. That makes perfect sense. I was a little surprised when I saw that we still had some R2 zoning thrown in the mix of this wonderful park. Madam Mayor, Council, do you guys have any questions on this? It's really housekeeping. All right, thank you. Mr. Gray, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere, but we'll take that one up on, oh, no, we can place that on the consent agenda. Oh, look at us go. Are you guys okay with placing that on the consent agenda?
Yes.
T. Miller, I'm not looking at you. Okay, thank you.
good.
Thank you, all right. Next item, item number 26-024 says authorize staff to refer to the Planning Commission a city-initiated rezoning from R2 single-family residential detached District 2 PSB public semi-public district on Malone Street in Jesse Davis Park, land lot 737 District 1 Section 3 parcel ID 0001, application by the City of Douglasville. Mr. Gray.
Again, this is the second parcel that is zone R2 that we would like to rezone to PSP for the purposes of keeping the same zoning classification of PSP for that particular lot and join those parcels together to create one parcel.
Thank you for that. And just like that last one, Madam Mayor, Council, any thoughts, questions on this one? Are you guys comfortable with placing this on the consent agenda? Beautiful. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's see if we can go a little faster than we did on the first half. Item number 26-016, authorize staff to refer to the Planning Commission a text amendment from Section 2.06 of the Unified Development Ordinance to add split face block to the facade material requirements. Mr. Gray, tell us about this.
Okay, so this is a text amendment to propose to add split face block to our facade material requirements for commercial. Split face block is a concrete masonry unit, otherwise called CMU, which has a textured relief to it. And it provides depth and dimension to each block while this demonstrating. Okay.
I know it's been a long week on this one meeting.
All right. While demonstrating superior quality and durability. So this split face texture typically provides more aesthetically pleasing presentation on exterior walls. So it gives an architect and designer a little bit more flexibility in terms of the design. It can be combined with smooth concrete. It can be combined with brick. So it gives it a nice, an architect a nice challenge to bring something different. So with that, as an accent material for each elevation, you're allowed to use up to 10% of that particular material combined with the other materials as well.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. I'm really confused because split face block just looks like I don't know, fancy cinder block. It's just not pretty at all.
Yeah, I thought it was stucco. It's not stucco?
Well, no, it's not
No,
stucco.
it's-
On the outside of these buildings.
It's, yeah, if anybody wants to
is.
see what it looks like, step
But-
outside the door and you'll see it all over these buildings.
But to split
It's just
face,
so undesirable. I don't understand why we're having this conversation.
but to split faces defense, it depends upon how the light hits on it. You can build some character with split face. So.
She's being.
Looks better at night, doesn't it?
Mr. Gray, did this used to be in and then was out, or it's almost like is this new? This.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
The split face rock.
Block.
Is it block? Is this something that used to be in our ordinance and got dropped out, or?
It was one of the let me say this right. One of the prohibited materials. So we would take it out of there and put it into an allowed material.
What made it prohibited? I mean, is it ugly or?
Ignorance.
It's one of those things, it's kind of like cul-de-sacs, nobody
You know what?
really
Now that you
likes
bring
them.
that up,
Keep
maybe
the train on the tracks. Just
if
keep
we
it-
could attach some kind of ordinance requiring cul-de-sacs at buildings that have split face block.
You are out of order.
Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving.
Okay, noted. But, Madam Mayor, Council, do you guys have questions?
No.
Thoughts? Do we all know what split face block is? It's, yeah, right outside this building here. Okay, okay. Are you guys okay with placing this on the consent agenda? Look at us go. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Mr. Gray.
Thank you.
Item number 26-020 says consider request for plat approval for the purpose of combining 1.98 acres at 9130 Highway 5 located in land lot 162, District 2, Section 5, parcel IDs 0015 and 0016, application by Tibbetts Land Surveying, and Mr. Marcus Thompson is going to go over this item with us.
Marcus Thompson, City Engineer, 8485 Courthouse Square. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council.
Good evening.
Just want to start off by, just want to point out that this item is not tied to a new development. It's simply an action to merge the two lots under one common ownership for an existing commercial property. Typically, this action is to clean up ownership, configuration for financing, future site work, or just to have consistent property records. City and county staff has reviewed this plat. There were no comments, and staff recommends in approval.
Thank you for that, Mr. Thompson. Is everyone clear with the building that we're talking about? It is current Highway 5, down close to the Gurley Road end, just across from Farm Bureau. There's an old, like, retro style motel there.
Oh,
And then that other side there's a pet groomer and the little strip center, and there's also a car place.
He said city and county reviewed it. Is one of the lots in the county?
No.
I thought you said city and county.
I meant as in WSA.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
okay. Good.
Okay.
Take that. All right, never mind.
No, you're good. Is everyone on board with this? Are we good? Clear? Are you guys okay with placing this on the consent agenda? Beautiful. Thank you so much. Item number 26-021 says, hold a public hearing and consider a request for a variance from section 9.01 of the Unified Development Ordinance for park improvements for 16.41 acres located at 3270 Chapel Hill Road in land lot 57, District 1, Section 5, parcel ID 0061, application by the City of Douglasville. Mr. Thompson.
All right, so just want to start off by saying items G and H, they basically support the improvements we're looking to make for Fowler Field. The project is we're looking to start the project early February, or I say early mid-February. If you can recall, this project was awarded to Triscapes. It should take approximately 6 to 8 months to complete, depending on the weather, as it can flood out there, so that may delay us some. The project consists of us improving the walking trail, adding a rain garden. Also with that walking trail, we're looking to add a few areas for a boardwalk installation. Also, we're looking to add park amenities such as exercise equipment, playground equipment as well. So look forward to that one. But basically, as mentioned, the request is for a variance from UDO section 9.01. It's to repave portions of the existing trail that fall within the 50-foot stream buffer and to construct a wooden boardwalk along a section of the trail that is prone to flooding. So basically, this is essentially a safety and accessibility repair project on an existing trail that already encroaches the 50-foot stream buffer. It's not a new development. Let's see, because this is a city project, staff would like to emphasize that we are following the same UDO process and documentation standards that would apply to any private developer, ensuring everything is properly recorded for transparency and compliance. Staff recommends this is approved, that the variance is approved to allow repaving of the existing trail within the buffer and construction of the boardwalk segment to address flooding and improve safety and accessibility subject to conditions council deems as appropriate. Are there any questions or concerns?
Thank you so much, Mr. Thompson. Thank you for explaining everything to us. Coach?
Also, I would just like to add that the Georgia Department of Natural Resources on both these items has signed off on this. They've approved the request for variance also.
Thank you. Appreciate hearing that. Anyone else?
I did have
Madam
a
Mayor?
question real
Yes,
quickly,
ma'am.
Madam Chairman. Mr. Thompson,
Yes, ma'am.
is this correlate with the grant or that we received, that we won from the Parks Department for improvements to Fowler Field?
That's correct. It doesn't correlates with that.
Okay.
Some of the funds were used on this project.
All right, good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Thompson. This is a public hearing, so at this time, let's go ahead and hold that public hearing. If we have anyone here this evening who would like to speak on this item, rather for or in opposition to, if you'll please come down and give us your name and address for the record. And if we don't have anyone, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and take that item up on Tuesday. Okay. Item number 26-022 says hold a public hearing and consider a request for a variance from section 9.02 of the Unified Development Ordinance for park improvements for 16.41 acres located at 3270 Chapel Hill Road in Land Lot 57, District 1, Section 5, Parcel ID 0061, application by the City of Douglasville. Mr. Thompson.
Yeah. So item A is similar to G. However, item H affects the 25-foot state buffer instead of the 50-foot. So the same work that we're doing that encroaches the 50-foot basically will encroach the 25-foot buffer as well. And then also item H also ensures that we protect the water quality by providing BMP measures like BMP, such as silt fencing and stuff of that nature, check dams or stuff of that nature when disturbing the land. Are there any questions or concerns?
Thank you. Madam Mayor, Council, do we have, yes ma'am?
I do, thank you. Is it going to impede upon traffic on Chapel Hill Road?
No, not at all.
Okay, because you know that would be a bear. All right, so you're doing the work past that little creek where the cart path, and then it's in the back, or the walking trails and all around in there?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
no traffic?
No traffic. No,
Okay.
no traffic control is needed.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I might have missed it, but did you say what the length of that trail is going to be?
I don't have that information on right now, but I can follow up with you.
Okay.
It already
It's already
Oh,
there.
it is. It's an existing,
Yeah.
it's just improved, right?
They're redoing and
Right.
repairing.
But I just wondered what the overall length of it is going to.
Why don't you go walk it?
I'm gonna go now.
I'm not sure.
3 times around is 1.25 miles.
There you go.
That was pretty quick. That's impressive.
You know, it's on the agenda
If you read the page.
And that's how I know.
Thanks, Miranda.
Thank you.
Burned by your own question.
Thank you. All right, we're getting tired.
All right, the next 260-page
friends,
agenda item, I want to make
we
sure
do
that
need to
everybody's
hold a
read every
pub-
single page of it.
Mayor
'cause
Pro
there will
Tem,
be a
did you,
there'll be
are
a
you
quiz.
good?
I'm
Mayor
good,
Pro
thank
Tem?
you.
Thank you, okay. At this time, we do need to go ahead and hold that public hearing, so if we have anyone here who would like to speak on this item, now is your chance to come on down, give us your name and address for the record. And if we don't have anyone here who would like to speak on this item, we will take it up on Tuesday. Madam Mayor, that is all that we have this evening for planning and development.
Thank you so much,
sure?
Madam Chair. You did an exceptional job. There was a lot of agenda items. You had a lot of heavy lifting to do. You do have the next committee, Public Improvement and Beautification Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business this evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Public Relations Committee, Councilmember Samuel Davis.
At this time, we have no business.
Thank you, Councilman Davis. Public Safety Committee, chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Public Safety Committee has no business this evening.
Thank you, sir. Recreation, Culture, and Tourism, chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We came about as close to recreation, culture, and tourism as you can get in the last two items, but we had nothing else to add.
Yes, sir, it was close. Thank you, sir. Technology Committee, chaired by Councilmember DeVitrion Caldwell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight.
Thank you, sir. Transportation Committee, chaired by Councilmember Elena Hudson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item under the Transportation Committee this evening. Item A, authorize the mayor to sign the GDOT LAP recertification application and authorize staff to submit the completed application on behalf of the city of Douglasville. And Mr. Marcus Thompson has about a hour-long presentation to walk us through what that's going to look like. Mr. Thompson?
All right. So if you guys recall, I came before you the end of December of last year with two supporting documents to this overall application. One was in regards to procurement, while the other was in regards to the Title VI procedures. So just to recap, the LAP recertification is for the city to remain eligible to manage GDOT and Federal Highway Administrative funded transportation projects. Maintaining this status protects our ability to deliver transportation projects efficiently and keeps us eligible for federal and state transportation funding. Basically, recertification confirms we have the procedures, staffing, and internal controls to administer federally and state-funded transportation work in compliance with GDOT and federal requirements. Are there any questions or concerns?
That sounds great. Thank you very much. So just to recap, how frequently do we need to recertify?
So it was changed from 3 to 5 years now, so it's 5 years.
Okay, so we've got 5 years till we have to have this conversation again. And you said this just allows us to kind of walk through all those procedures appropriately, making sure we're, in accordance with their guidelines to be able to qualify for that funding.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am, that's correct.
Thank you. Council, Madam Mayor, do we have any specific questions about this item? Pretty straightforward. Okay, if everyone's okay with it, I'd like to place this on the consent agenda for Tuesday. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Madam Mayor, that's all we have for transportation.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair of Transportation. And Mr. Thompson, we appreciate you doing our city engineer, this item and the previous ones. Do we have any other business to come before council tonight from the elected officials? No. Well, I have a couple of things. The two I would like for staff, if you all don't mind, to Miss Naomi Jones from the Rosewood community brought up something about lights and visibility. I'm not sure of where she was speaking of, so if we can follow up. I don't know if there's an area that's dim that we need to look at in the city for public safety or public works, so not certain. They know, okay, good. And then the other one was for public service, public works, and maybe engineering, not certain. And I don't know, AECon may have already done this. I think I brought it up before about potholes on Highway 92, Dallas Highway. It's at Strickland Street to James D. Simpson. Then we get a little break by Stewart Middle School, but then it picks up again before you get down to the new 92 bypass. It's just like, it's just really bad. The road is bad. I don't know where we are as far as a rating on that road. And at the top of the intersection, on Strickland Street and Dallas Highway. That concrete diamond is cracked now. So half of it is kind of in the street. So if a car is turning off of Strickland to get on Dallas Highway, they can get their tire cut on that. It's like a little diamond concrete block, and it's cracked. So
Strickland Street, I do know, is part of the upcoming LMIG, so it'll be repaved.
Okay, good.
But the median per se, the one that's at 92, that
Yes.
right at the railroad crossing, we'll take a look at that. That's actually installed by GDOT, so we'll have to
look
make some
and see,
contact.
and maybe ask them to look at it. We just don't want anyone to, hurt their tire or run over that area. And so for the council, I have a few announcements for you if you wanted to attend. I have a workshop with ARC in Gwinnett County at Gas South Arena. We're going to be talking about housing for the community and data centers. ARC's put out a data center guide for local governments. So our meeting is taking place on the 29th, but on the 30th, it's open to elected officials. I'll make certain I give you all the information. It's a comprehensive conversation with Chairman Henderson as the chair to talk about housing in the region. So that the chamber is having a FIFA World Cup conversation. I'll be on that board. It's going to take place March 18th. I think they'll send the information out to everyone, but I'm on the FIFA World Cup board with MAMA, Metro Atlanta Mayors Association, and ARC. But we'll talk about it and see how it affects our community in Douglas County, Douglasville, and how we can participate with the World Cup that's coming. I think it's in July. Yes, in July. And so I have the first 6 games on here, and I'll tell you all the games on Tuesday. And then we have the Day at the Capitol, which is February 24th. I'm not sure. Chamber always holds that. And so those are the few announcements that I had as it relates to council. And the State of the City is February 25th. And whoever's attending Cities United, it's next week. So we have Cities United next week. You should have gotten your agendas for your classes and all the things, so we need to participate as far as that's concerned. A lot of announcements, so that's it. We'll move on now to updates from city staff. Our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Staff attorney, Ms. Miranda Jordan.
No business, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Attorney Jordan. Our chief of police, Dr. Gary Sparks.
No business, Madam Mayor.
When is Unity Day?
Next month, I think it's like the 22nd.
Okay, I keep asking because I want to attend. Thanks, Chief. It's good to see you. Our city manager, Ms. Marsha Frazier.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. They need to change on the agenda to Frazier.
We'll get it done.
Okay.
Eventually.
No business for real.
No, ma'am.
Okay. MLK Day is Monday. We're off. That's a day, for some, it's not a day off, it's a day on to. We do have community development. We're planting trees in the city. I'm not exactly sure where they are. I know we did Douglas County High School. We've done Hunter Park, but we're tree planting with Keep Douglasville Beautiful on Monday. Now it's time for citizens and delegates. If you sustain the meeting and you'd like to speak to us, please come forward, give us your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to talk to us about any business germane to the city of Douglasville. The podium is open. Yes, ma'am. Please give us your name and address, and we love to hear from you.
I didn't greet you all properly the last time, so thank you for Madam Mayor and the council. But I did hear you mention, as far as the street that I was talking about where it's dark, is actually the corner of Rose Avenue and Highway 5. And when you're coming up Rose Avenue toward Highway 5, when you're making that left turn to go toward I-20,
yes, ma'am,
is very dark there. It's 4 lanes, so you have one turning completely right, one that goes straight, and then we have 2 that would go left to I-20. And it's very hard because you have those concrete triangles and barriers, and there's a light on the far side when you would make the left. And that has apparently been knocked down a couple of times because I think people can't see. And so I would like to suggest that maybe those dotted lines that kind of keep you in your lane would be a big help, and also a street light would be a huge help.
Now,
at
the
that corner.
lights don't help, the traffic lights don't give an illuminate lights. I know what you're talking about when you pass Walmart in West Pines.
Yes, because what you don't see is the median
Yes, ma'am.
that separates
turn.
oncoming traffic for where you have to turn. So you really can't see it, and especially if it rains. You know, and I know I do have young eyes, but I think it's not, I haven't hit a pole, but somebody has hit it. So, yeah, I just think that would be, even if we didn't get the light, having the dotted lines, the
box.
fluorescent that would kind of reflect the light of your car
Yes,
would
ma'am.
actually be good enough.
be
But, and even when you're coming down Highway 5 and gonna turn the right on Rose Avenue, there's another, I don't know who thought of those concrete little triangles.
Yeah, it's the city manager just spoke of it when I mentioned Strickland Street. It's Georgia Department of Transportation,
Okay.
and Highway 5 is a state highway. So we
Okay.
would have to coordinate, or I don't even know how we would do that. City manager.
They just paved it. They haven't finished striping yet.
Oh,
So they're
okay.
not done.
So they're
And,
gonna
and a
stripe it.
suggestion could be, even could we paint the corners of those?
They're gonna stripe it.
Yeah, they haven't
of-
finished, no ma'am, they haven't finished striping, so they're not done with the work.
I'm sorry, say.
They haven't finished striping the road, so they're
Right.
not done with the work.
Okay.
It's
But-
the state transportation department.
Oh, okay, so there's nothing that we could do to make that line, those dotted lines?
Well, I mean, that may be, when you got two lanes turning in the same direction, a lot of times they do that. We did it. over
Yes.
Where you turn left on the bypass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but GDOT would be the one
Yeah.
that would have to do that.
That would have to do that.
And our engineer, he's taking notes, Mr. Thompson, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
But it's the state highway. We can make recommendations, but it's up to them as they have.
I would appreciate even a
Yes,
recommend, that's my recommendation, just to make it a little safer, because it does get difficult when two cars are, and
Yes.
everybody is heading toward that way, because
Mhm.
that's the way to
To get on I-20. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So
All
thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Any other comments from citizens and delegates? Okay, I know this was a long meeting, but we had to take care of the citizens' business. We have any other business to come before council tonight? If not, this meeting is adjourned.